Hello, 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 and welcome to the Radiant Rebirth Online Retreat, where we are igniting our age of empowerment, owning who we truly are, gaining clarity of direction so that we can take that soul-aligned action with joy, grace, and ease. Today, I have the immense pleasure of welcoming Sally Reid. Sally is a quantum alignment coach and the creator of the Bliss System. She has helped thousands of people to realign and rediscover their joy by overcoming life's most challenging obstacles. Using her ability to see, touch, and manipulate energy, Sally has developed simple life hacks to help people to move forward quickly. Sally, it is such a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you. And the people who are listening now don't realize that we really we really persevered to make this happen. And I'm very, very happy to be here and to be part of this amazing group of people and this very, very necessary information.
Oh, I so agree. I totally agree. And we did persevere, but excuse me, as we were saying just prior to our pressing record, that it's divine timing and now is the right time. And now is the right time really to be discussing this topic. I'm so excited. How to be divinely guided without second guessing yourself. How to be divinely guided without second guessing yourself. And I know that you're very, very good at this. So would you like to sort of maybe start sharing about what that means and what that means for this group that we're speaking with?
Well, like all very profound things,
Mhm.
it's effortless and simple, but almost impossible. That's the issue. And when one is looking for divine guidance, there's always 15 other things coming in at the same time. I am not going to speak to anybody's faith. I am not going to, and in fact, I have just had deep discussions with a Tibetan Shambhala Buddhist, a preacher, and a Hindu. We sat around the fire and had a deep discussion. We all came to the conclusion that, yeah, it's the same thing. We're all just touching a different part of the elephant. So in one's attachment with spirit, personal relationship with spirit, the trouble is that we're human and our humanness gets in the way. And so once we realize that it's just humanness and we don't need to, do battle with ourselves and we soften, it gets so much easier. And there are step-by-step ways that one can do it, and it can be effortless. But the main thing is women especially, but often men, are separated from their true guidance. They're, every human is born with guidance, end of story. But when we're around 2 or 3, we get into a lot of trouble and we get trained, especially if you had traditional training, we get trained the hard way. And we learned that we need to subjugate our will for the will of the big people, or it could physically hurt or
Mhm.
even be dangerous to our future breathing aliveness, right? That's our
Mhm.
perception as little tiny people, like, oop, get in line. And a lot of women do that, especially if you find yourself having been a good girl and having been a servant and having had this and finding pleasure in serving other people, because that gets taken advantage of as well. So here you are, you come to this part of your life and you go, oh, snap. Who the heck am I? What the heck happened?
Mhm.
And so that's what I'd like to speak to, is to find out who the heck you are and undo what the heck happened.
Oh, that's really powerful. Who you are and what the heck has happened. And I know maybe you can speak to this as well, as people begin to ask those questions, who am I? What happened? They can be so married to that identity, that conditioning that says, I get pleasure from serving to the exclusion of my own pleasure. So how do we step out of that paradigm of, kind of serving almost to the exclusion of the self?
Well, here is an amazing exercise one can do to double check and see if like, oh, I serve myself. I know how to do self care. I'm very good at it. Well, drop a piece of toast and have it land face down and see how hard you swear at yourself. Just check. Imagine that. Do you swear at yourself? What if it had peanut butter on it? And now you've got a mess to clean up, or butter, because it always ends face down when it. I don't know why. It's the law. It's a law of physics. So it literally is. Somebody did this test. Or look at yourself, soul gaze for just a minute in the mirror, and notice how squeamish you feel when you do it. That's how you know you're still separated from the essence and the beauty that's yours. Soul gazing with yourself can be one of the most difficult. You don't even have to say, I love you. You don't even have to do anything else, but that is a double check to see if you're still separated with the essence of you, let alone people giving you compliments or gifts. And so, to answer your question, what does one do? Well, what I personally, I can't speak to anybody's personal experience, but what I personally did was to say, what's the big deal? What's so bad? I challenged it. Would the world end if I let this go? Would I be hurting anybody? There is a thing that the Wicca people, see, all religions are okay. There is a thing that the Wicca people say, to the good of all and may it harm none. Is this the truth? Is this truth going to be for the good of all and may it harm none? Because if it is, if you connecting with yourself or your personal power, that's another thing. We get disconnected from our personal power. And if we don't have an engine, how are we going to drive?
Mm-hmm.
So starting there and just simply asking, will it hurt anybody? And the answer, I'm sorry, if you come up with yes, you can go back and try it again because the answer is truly no. The answer is truly no. But you'll feel that resistance in your heart, or you feel an uncomfortableness in your throat and in this area, because our power, our love. You get
Mm-hmm.
that?
Yeah.
And this is where our second guessing starts, is here. Like, because we have an underlying set of programming rules. Don't go there, you'll get in trouble. And it's so old. We don't even realize that that's what's happening, what's kicking in. So that's actually the voice. That's the function of the second guessing, is to move us away from the dangerous areas. And if we call it for what it is, it makes it so much easier. And don't make a big deal out of it. It's the judgment that's causing the pressure. So it's like, oh, look, you're doing it again, you silly thing. you know?
Almost making it like a game.
Oh, it is a game. The more soft I get, the easier life gets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I got an image recently, and I was I was actually meditating, and I got this image of, we've all seen very sharp rocks, right? Like the gravel that's been broken up from granite and stuff, like these are very sharp rocks. And then we've all seen like stones that have been in the river. If you consider life as the river and us as the sharp, our judgments, our fears as the sharpness, what happens when we resist? It makes us tumble. It makes us tumble. It makes us tumble. But if we believe that that tumbling is simply us becoming more smooth, because you'll notice a smooth rock, the water flows over beautifully with no resistance whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we continue to resist where we're being pulled or whatever to go, that's the second guessing, it's resistance. If we stop and relax and let it smooth, like, what's the worst that can happen? They'd say no. Oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So allow yourself to get smoother.
I
Isn't that a
love
beautiful image?
love that. Allow yourself to get smoother. Allow yourself to get smoother. And I love that you've touched on the aspect of personal power because sometimes that's what we're most afraid of is that, when that smoothness does arrive and we begin to understand who we truly are, we really kind of start to feel and understand that power, that can be terrifying. How can we,
Well, I want to tell you why it's terrifying.
please?
If you've ever parented a toddler or were ever a toddler yourself, I actually can remember learning how to walk and learning how to talk. I'm one of the rare humans on the planet that can actually remember. I can even tell you exactly how a baby learns how to walk. But one has a lot of inhibitions at that age.
Mm,
It's your personal power, your self direction. I can move through the world and I can touch and grab things. Depending on how your parents reacted, is how afraid you are of your power.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't remember it. Like if you got your head bammed in the back, your hands swap. I mean, my mother used to, if I heard fast footsteps, I would almost go into the fetal position because I knew I was fixing to get numb, like really
Mm,
whacked.
mm,
And if you just soften to that, it's just simply my training. And I know it's a huge ask. It's a huge ask. But you simply say, that was then, and now I'm an adult, and mommy can't spank me anymore. Because if she did, she would find there would be a way different reaction. Like how many things in your life are you preventing yourself so mommy and daddy won't get angry?
mm,
Or so mommy and daddy would be happy?
mm,
Because you've gone past the angry into I want to please them. Just stop and say, wow, I'm an adult. I'm a middle-aged adult, for heaven's sakes. And so you just quietly love that child and take them out of timeout and say, it's okay. You
mm,
can come out of timeout and begin to play with us. And that's how you get rid of some of those inhibitions.
mm. So we've heard, soften to it, um, say it's going to be okay, spend time with that inner child. I'm an adult, I can't get spanked anymore. And I love the sort of understanding of where the being afraid of your personal power comes from. So as we begin to tap into stepping out of second guessing, are there other ways that we can listen to that inner voice, that inner internal GPS, and allow the second guessing to sort of ebb away? Are there other ways that we can do this as well?
Yes, there are a number of grounding questions you
Mm,
can ask yourself. So we all have that moment of inspiration.
mhm.
Those are our gifts. And by the way, how many times do people get them in the shower? I do.
Why is that?
Water amplifies vibrate. Water carries vibrations really well, which is why you don't want to drop a hair dryer in water because electricity comes right through it. So here's the thing: you will get the inspiration, and that's as far as it goes because it's up to you to follow through. I live in Nashville, and there's a huge joke: is if you get inspired to write a song, you better get it quick because 8 other songwriters got that same thing. So, because it comes from spirit, it's like it's like the radio of spirit gives it to you. You're not the only one. And
Yeah.
so, the next thing you want to do is you want to ask a grounding question. What about this feels good? That's one. The next one, because you want to focus on what's good first. You want to really, really get focused. The next grounding question is who do I believe? Not who do I have to be? Who do I believe I have to be to accomplish this? It's not actually who you have to be, but it's what are my beliefs around who I need to be? The next one is What beliefs do I have would be in the way. You simply want to know what beliefs they are, because it's like, am I, do I not know enough? Do I feel unsupported? What are these things? Because a lot of it is, I don't feel supported. Because if you're not tapping into your own personal power, you are unsupported, boo. I hate to break it to you, because you're not even supporting yourself.
Yeah.
So, like, what do I believe will get in the way? And then finally, you need to, once you've listed all these things, how do I feel about each one? And you will get so deep into that. You're like, how do I feel about this belief? How do I, does it make me angry? Why does it make me angry? You want to do that, is such a doorway into your inner work. And you're like, it'll all collapse.
Mhm.
It'll completely collapse if you actually question it. Because what happens, and this is universally human, we get to a bad feeling and we go the other way. We find the fence and we go the other way. Ooh, bad feeling. Beyond there be dragons. Don't go. But if you go, is it really all that bad? Because we're zombie living. We want to stay in our lane. That's why they call it getting out of your comfort zone. And there are 3 things you can do to help you. You want to do a stretch. So if there's something on your list that's very uncomfortable, like, I will feel uncomfortable by being seen. There are a lot of women who don't want to be seen, because being seen means a lot of things. Is it because you're being held accountable? Is it because, now you're up to scrutiny and judgment? I'm afraid to be judged. There's all of this. And so do a stretch and check and see if you die, because there's a good chance you don't. So you
Mhm.
want to do one stretch on each one of these things. And and it's teeny, like, say, I don't want to be seen on video. Well, we have these things and they make videos, and you can just text it to a friend to begin with. You can do a video of yourself and text it to your friend if you're afraid to be on video. You don't have to put it on the www, you know? Just do baby steps, because you truly won't die. It's just your operating system. It's just to go back to DOS, it's just your driver. You have a driver installed to kick in when you go to this certain area. And we all know what happens when we hit that driver. If the driver isn't functioning properly, the thing freezes.
Mhm.
And this is back in the day, and I know you remember the day. It doesn't happen so much anymore, but it so that's what I'm saying. It's just your driver kicking in. And if you look at it that way, instead of, I have all these feelings and I'm honoring these, they're just freaking feelings. They're simply like emails.
Mhm.
And if you don't clear out your inbox, what happens? Yeah. That's all they are. It's just feelings. Like, notice them. You don't have to do anything. You just notice them and say, oh, I feel really uncomfortable doing that. I wonder what that's about. Oh, wow. This feels really squeamy. This feels if it feels wrong, ask yourself why. Just simply sit in your feelings instead of, oh, I'm having a feeling, I have to stop. Because that's what second guessing is. It's your wonderful child self trying to keep you from getting spanked.
Mhm.
That's it. Or trying to stop getting disapproval from X, Y, or Z. And that's
Mhm.
it. That's all it is. And if you look at it for exactly what it is, and understand that all those little rules are designed to keep you from your power, the power that is gifted to you at your first breath.
Mhm.
Yes. And so the farther you are from spirit, inspiration, right? The farther you are from your personal power,
Mhm.
and the more misaligned you are. And so it really comes down to trust.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's just simply trust. And I find that I trust to the point of I don't even give it a second thought. I was like, okay, what do I do next? Sure, let's do it. Tell me what I need to do. I have a uniquely very loud connection with spirit, though. Uniquely very loud. And so, yeah, it's a little different, but I have been told more than once that every human has this ability.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be clairaudient, but it could, it's, you feel it in your body. And would you like me to take people through an exercise?
Please.
All right. That's the first step to being divinely guided, is to understand the power of your body's ability to tell you things. That's the very first step. And so one of my very favorite things to do is to notice the sensations that my body is telling me. Like when somebody is about to take advantage of you, do you notice that there's a funny pressure in your belly or your chest? That is your body going, don't do this, 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 stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. And what if you started listening to it?
Mm-hmm.
What a surprise. That's being divinely guided. The next thing I'd like you to notice is the feeling of lightness when you're either doing something in your bliss or you have done well. That feeling of lightness and accomplishment. And there are different degrees of lightness. Like there's clean house lightness, like, oh, good, I checked that off my list, right? Like, oh, good, I don't have to clean the house anymore. I got it all done. But then there's like, I have just created something from whole cloth and people love it. There's that. You see, it's a completely different lightness. And so when you feel that lightness, then you know you're on the right track. But there are increments of it. And you can ask either with pictures in your mind or with words. You can ask your body, you can ask spirit, I'd like to create this. Does it feel light or heavy? So you move towards the lightness, and then you know you're on the right track. Those are two very simple ways to use your body to notice. And if you are, it's possible people feel numb because they have gone to the level of not being able to be engaged with themselves, and they're too much input, and so their fuses are blown. And it's possible, and it happens. If you're at that level, give yourself some grace, because judging is just going to make it worse. And remember that most of that crap is you judging yourself. So have yourself one day judgment free, off the hook for everything. Doesn't matter. One day off the hook. And then there is a simple exercise called the sway exercise. And everybody, if you simply think the word yes, 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 and stand up, think the word yes, 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 and you put your hands like this and let your body sway back or forward. And there's your answer. Then you think no, 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 and your body will swing the other way. And you want to know something really cool? If you're in the northern hemisphere, you'll swing one way, and if you're in southern hemisphere, you'll swing the other. And if you are ungrounded, it will be backwards. So in the northern hemisphere, you're going to swing forward for yes and backward for no. In the southern hemisphere, it's the other way around.
Interesting.
Is that
Unless
the
you
coolest thing?
unless you have the reversed polarity of, kind of it
Of
being
being ungrounded.
rounded. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Because everything, because you're spinning. Okay, just think of the toilets. Which way do the toilets go?
Yeah.
You're going to go this way or this way.
I love this sway technique. I think it's really powerful. And thank you so much for sharing those exercises. I often say, the body never lies. And we're so conditioned out of listening to our bodies and sort of listening to our minds, which the mind doesn't really have the answers, right? So thank you so much for sharing those really powerful exercises, and I hope that people will listen to those and practice them. Ultimately, we're hoping, and you've given us so much. Now, in your experience, when you work with clients and they begin to really step out of that second guessing, they're learning to listen to themselves, or learning to listen to that internal guidance, learning to listen to their bodies, learning to listen to that inspiration. In your experience, what happens when they start doing that?
They actually make a lot of money. Sorry. I mean, if you really want to know the outcome.
Excellent. That's a great answer. They make a lot of money, right? Because
Yeah,
the money is a vibration of creation and alignment, right? So,
bingo. Yeah. And because here's the thing that you want to do is to serve people, but service has an exchange. Even if you're spiritual, you have to exchange. So the amount of output has to equal the amount of input, or you get burned out. Ever
mhm,
been rode hard and used by
mhm,
a boss because they didn't pay you enough? But if they tripled your thing, then you could see the same amount of, money is just an exchange of energy. Doesn't mean anything. It just is. And
mhm,
so if you follow spirit, you are rewarded. That's
mhm.
it.
I love
You're
that.
rewarded with abundance of whatever you choose to value. It
Mhm,
doesn't necessarily have to be money. It could be support. It could be freedom. It could be peace. It could be whatever you choose.
mhm,
Because to a person, everybody is looking for peace, pleasure, and calm. How you get there is your journey.
Peace, pleasure, calm. And I love that. You've said once they stop second guessing and they're sort of listening to all of the abundance of information that's available to us to help guide us, they're able to call an abundance of whatever they choose and whatever they value. If it's money,
Well, it
then
isn't even. I'm sorry to get so excited right there, but it isn't even calling in, y'all. Seriously, it is simply I'm setting my GPS. Where do I put where's my next step? And the most amazing thing is you only have to see the ground enough to put your foot down. You don't have to see where you put your next foot. And so you're not even standing here going, I'm shouting to the universe, I want to create this. No, it's like, what's my next step?
yeah.
Thank you. Off I go. And I feel like now is a really good time to teach just briefly what the bliss system is.
Mm,
It's check on what you believe about yourself and about what you're doing. We did a little bit of that with the grounding questions, checked our beliefs. The next is listen. We did a little bit of that too. Listen to your body. And the I is like allowing yourself to be inspired. That is a big leap.
mhm.
Just allowing that is so difficult for people. I was like, nah. That's why Mel Robbins is so rich, the 5 4 3 2 1.
Mhm, mhm.
Millions of people get lots of inspires, but they're not going to allow it. I mean, honest to goodness. Next one is what are you actually seeing? Because we put these veils of what we might believe here, right? So what's really there? So that
Mhm.
goes back to the what do you believe? Because our beliefs are going to cloud it. And the last one is sustain. Just do the whole, every time you hit a step, you're going to turn around and do it again. What do I believe about this? Because every level you have to grow and become a new thing. And that's the simple bliss system. It's quite simple.
I love that. I love that. Simple but profound. Simple but
Mhm.
profound. And I love that you kind of just you repeat and you do it all over again, because as we grow, we kind of meet, sort of some barriers or some version of the same barrier, and we just keep doing it again.
Yeah, if you think you've arrived, you're guaranteed wrong.
Guaranteed
No
wrong.
human can ever live long enough to learn everything. It's impossible.
Yeah. That's why this life is so beautiful, because we're all
Hmm.
learning and growing and developing.
Hmm.
And so, Sally, thank you so much for, I've written down so many notes and so many steps. It's beautiful what you've shared here today. If people want to find you, if they want to get in contact with you, if they want to know more, how can they find you?
myname.com.
Beautiful.
www.sallyreid.com. There I am.
There
But
you are.
you also can find me on social media. I'm on TikTok as Bliss Life underscore coach. Also the same handle on Instagram. And that's where I spend most of my time, is either on Instagram or TikTok. But I also have a LinkedIn account, and you can direct message me there or DM me from Instagram.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Sally, thank you so, so much. I'm so grateful to you. I'm really glad that we did persevere. This has been beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, and it's been an absolute pleasure.
Kia, I knew third time would be a charm.
You're absolutely right. Thank you so much.